With Spice Girls. No, you're going to the concert.
I'll do the
right?
11. You can go in my place.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'll man the fort, but I do know that you're going.
I'm going with Janine Jersey from 96.5. So just as her guest, I am going. So let the record reflect that.
All right.
Okay. Phew. Bruce,
Don't
take
be
it.
ashamed. Just do the weather.
Okay, let's get down to some business here. We got some pictures coming in from emailers, and thank you very, very much. We got a picture from Naugatuck where we got a report of 8 inches of snow, and you can see a pretty hefty amount of snow on the deck railing there. That is in Naugatuck, and this picture comes from my hometown of Hebron, where they're saying about 5 to 6 inches of snow has fallen so far. So it's pretty, but it's also been very, very treacherous during the course of the afternoon, and it still is. Now, we are getting a break from this snow and the rain and the sleet and the freezing rain in southwestern Connecticut, but parts of the state are still getting hit pretty hard with some moderate to heavy snow. We're going to go right into northeastern Connecticut around Putnam and Woodstock. And again, Doppler is a very powerful tool that can estimate snowfall rates. And well, I actually got to put this in the right mode here. And we're going to talk about let me get rid of that for you. It's actually coming down at the rate of 1 to 2 inches an hour. That's what I'm trying to tell you there, where you see the blue in Woodstock at the moment. Going into the Hartford area, we are looking at some light to moderate snow, and we can see that the rates are coming down at about a trace to 1 inch an hour. So we got things back on track in Marlborough. We're talking about some pretty good snow coming down as well. On the large picture, we're now going to go into New Haven. And you can see in New Haven, it's rain, where at Tweed New Haven Airport, the temperature has actually popped up to 34 degrees. But Hamden, you're likely getting some sleet and freezing rain. Wallingford, the same thing, and Naugatuck as well, where you got 8 inches of snow today. But it's plain rain in Guilford, Madison, Clinton, Westbrook, Old Saybrook, on up into Essex, Old Lyme, Niantic. And David Plotkin in Norwich said he's got about 4.6 inches of snow, and it's rain there, but probably some freezing rain since the temperature is pretty close to the freezing mark. You can see Groton and New London and Old Saybrook, 32 degrees, but you go inland and temperatures are still in the mid to upper 20s, like 28 degrees in Hartford, where you can see on our live city cam it's still snowing there. In Waterbury, it looks like the precipitation is much lighter. You're going to get a nice break over the next couple of hours. And in New Haven, the highways, at least the highways there, are looking wet with some rain in the area. Keep in mind, we do have a winter storm warning in effect until tomorrow morning at 1 a.m. for much of interior Connecticut, and a winter weather advisory is in effect for southern portions of this state. So that's the latest on the weather alerts. And with more on snowfall totals and visibilities, we now turn it over to Mark.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Yeah, across the state, because of that snow that is out there and the rate at which it's coming down, something you're exclusively going to see here at Channel 3. Nowhere else will we be able to show you what we do here. The visibilities are being reduced down to less than 2 miles basically across the state of Connecticut, but as low as 1/2 mile in Windsor Locks and around 3/4 of a mile in the capital city. So that is one issue that you're going to be dealing with on top of the already treacherous road conditions. You've seen on those city cam views some of the main thoroughfares are okay or they're slushy. The secondary roads, the bridges, the overpasses, the entrances, the exit ramps, and especially those secondary and residential roads are quite treacherous. And this is why. Just check out the snowfall totals from across the state. Bakerville coming in now at 9 inches. Harwington, Frank reports 8.5, 7.5 inches in Bristol. Old Saybrook at 6.5. Berlin and also West Haven at 6 inches. Jason from Franklin is reporting 4.5 inches in that part of southeast Connecticut. Now, we want to use our Sleepy's Pinpoint Weather Net to show you some cameras across the state with live current conditions. This first one from Old Saybrook, you can see Route 1 with a temperature of 32 degrees, more of mixing occurring there, and you can see the traffic moving along just fine. As we move on to Southington, a much different scene there. Snow-covered conditions with a temperature well below freezing at 26, and that wind out of the north and northeast. There you can see a northeasterly wind as well. In Colchester, temperature of 29 and quite snowy. By the afternoon, or by the time this all wraps up, I should say 5 to 10 inches throughout a good part of the state. Lesser amounts for southeast Connecticut because of the mixing that's going to be occurring there. The jackpot, though, the bullseye of heaviest snow in southwest Connecticut, mainly for Fairfield County. Now, we are watching more snow off to our west, this thin band that runs from New York into Pennsylvania. So that's going to be skirting right across Connecticut. And as we look at the bigger view as well, tracking an area of low pressure that continues to push some moisture up in our direction. This area of low pressure bringing in some milder air off the ocean. And that's why we're going to see that transition through the course of the evening from snow to the freezing rain, sleet, and then some plain old rain like we're already seeing happening across parts of southeast Connecticut. Now, I'm not sure where I'm going next, but as we do so, I want to point out that on our cell phones, that is where we can get eyewitness news, of course, anytime as well. Just dial in WFSB.com. You can get access to our early warning pinpoint Doppler. I've been tracking it all afternoon. You can also check it out to get the very latest on the road closures across the state. In the meantime, we're going to send things back over to Dennis and Kara.
Good enough. All right. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. And we know we're getting a lot of calls in, and we are doing special coverage. We've gone on at 4 o'clock today. Oprah, you can re-see her show. We're going to be playing it for you at 3:05 a.m. on Saturday morning. If you're not up at that hour, just set your DVR. It's just really important that we get all the information out there to people because it has been a treacherous storm for people.
Yeah, thousands of people on the roads today. Let's check in with State Police. Sergeant Donna Tattiello is with us on the Eyewitness News line. Sergeant Tattiello, thanks for being with us.
Hi there.
What is the situation in the state's highways right now overall?
Overall, on the state's highways, we were able to clear 2 major accidents within the last half hour. The one on I-395 and the one in the Waterbury area on 84 were just recently cleared. The one on I-95 down in Groton, the left and center lanes remain closed, and we're anticipating to clear that one up in 1 to 2 hours.
In 1 to 2 hours from now. And also we had reports of close to 200 accidents. Were these mostly just fender benders, people driving too fast for conditions?
The state police actually have responded to over 300 motor vehicle accidents since the midnight hour.
Okay.
And from midnight to 4 p.m., we've had 26 of those accidents reported with injuries, and unfortunately one of those accidents resulted in a traffic fatality.
Sergeant, quite often some of these traffic jams are caused by people really driving too fast for the conditions. Are you seeing any of that today?
Absolutely. That's the majority of crashes. Unfortunately, we find that they could have been avoided by motorists just simply adjusting their speed with the poor weather and roadway conditions.
Are there enough state police officers out there? I guess there's so many runoffs and spin-offs. Are people having to wait until they can get help? Or what should people do if they find themselves getting into a spin-out? Do they just leave their car and call for help?
Most times when somebody's involved in a motor vehicle accident, they should absolutely remain in their vehicles. We urge motorists not to exit their motor vehicles and walk to try and get help. They present a big safety risk for themselves if they exit their vehicles.
Sergeant Donna Tattiello with the Connecticut State Police, thank you so much for being with us this
You're
Friday
welcome.
afternoon.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the latest forecasting of the storm.
She's at the center of the John McCain uproar. What we've learned about the beautiful blonde lobbyist. Next Inside Edition.
Tonight at 7 on Channel 3, your home for Eyewitness News.
Joe Lieberman on the run for the White House. Face the State, Sunday.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of Winter Storm Destiny. Just to give you an idea of how bad the roads are, state police have received over 1,000 calls for service.
Yeah, and they told us they've responded to more than 300 accidents. We can look through our city cams and video right here. We can see some man out there trying to snow blow the snow. If there's any saving grace, I guess it's light, fluffy snow, so it's not too hard to shovel, but it's coming down at a good clip.
It certainly is. Cars are on the highway. They are moving, but moving slowly, depending upon which part of the state you're in. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Len Bestoff is live with the mobile newsroom once again, alongside I-91, one of the busiest stretches of highway, certainly in the metro area.
Things looking any better out there, Len?
It's pretty much the same story out here. You can see the snow's coming down at a pretty moderate clip right now. Pretty cool out here, really. It's never gotten warm. The snow basically is landing on us and sticking. You're not seeing it melt really quickly. You can see here, this is the exit 33 on-ramp onto I-91 northbound. What's really interesting here, take a real close look at the road here. Just since we went live about 20 minutes ago, they've come through here and they plowed. But what you're looking at there, it appears to be almost like slush, but guess what? It's not. We were out there walking on the on-ramp when there were no cars out here. We wish we could walk out there and show you ourselves. But that stuff that's all gray there, it's not slush. It's actually very hard, packed down ice. And I can't imagine what that could get like if things do end up getting colder out here. I know the forecast depends where you are in the state as far as if this stuff is going to really freeze tonight or if we're going to see things going to a much wetter kind of sleet and freezing rain mix. But this stuff out here could get really treacherous. You can see people are driving about maybe 20, 30 miles per hour. not going much faster than that. What is good news out here on 91, though, if Jim Elliott can pan off to the left here, the congestion is not that bad right now. We have seen it sort of ebb and flow as the afternoon has gone on. I think that there's perhaps a little bit better management of letting people out of work versus some of the other worst storms we've had. You also, of course, have this vacation week, which has kept a lot of people off the roadways. Let's take a look at how much snow we're talking here. Granted, we are on basically the side of an off-ramp or an on-ramp, but you can see probably about a good 4 to 5 inches out here, and it is still coming down at a good clip. Again, not heavy snow out here, but moderate snow. Visibility, again, take a look out here. It's actually just diminished really in the last 5 or 10 minutes. You're looking at probably about a quarter to a half mile. Winds not too bad, so that's another good part of the story. Again, you can see the highway out here. You can see the blacktop to a degree, so traction is pretty good, not great. Take it slow if you do have to come out here, but please, really, if you can stay home and watch us or whatever you want to do, just stay at home, stay off the roads. We're live with the mobile newsroom in Hartford. Len Bestoff, Channel 3, Eyewitness News.
Okay, thank you, Len.
Thank you, Len. And some good advice. Governor Rell announced earlier today, and perhaps this is a lesson learned from the last time, as Len was referring to. She let non-essential state employees be dismissed, but she did it in a staggered format.
Yeah, they started leaving at noontime, and it continued again at 12:30 and then again at 1. The governor made the decision to avoid what happened during Winter Storm Alexander back in December. It was a mess. Everyone was dismissed at the same time that day. And in conjunction with all the corporations, the thousands of employees leaving Hartford, this is the scene in the downtown tunnel that day. It was an absolute mess all across the capital city. It took some people 8 hours to get home that night. So
that is a storm that people will not soon forget.
Yeah, that scene was not repeated today,
thankfully. And we're going to be right back with some more information on Winter Storm Destiny. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone, to this special edition of Eyewitness News and Winter Storm Destiny. Our meteorologists have been tracking the storm all day, and we want to get the latest now as we're looking live just a moment ago at the New Haven Green. We've got both our meteorologists on the case today.
Mark Dixon on the left-hand side of your screen and Bruce DePrest on the right.
Who shall we begin with?
Well, I'll start it right off. Let's update you. Let's update you with the weather alerts, and they're still in effect. We have a winter storm warning in effect for all of interior Connecticut until 1 o'clock in the morning, and the shoreline is under a winter weather advisory. There is a little bit of good news here. We get into a southwestern Connecticut. You can see that the precipitation is beginning to taper off a little bit there now and becoming lighter. And right around Hartford, we're going to zoom into Hartford, and I'll show you there that the snow is coming down at a light clip. Still a little bit of heavier snow coming down in eastern Connecticut around Chaplin and Brooklyn on into Thompson and Woodstock as well. But it looks like the heaviest snow is coming to an end. We're going to widen this out a little bit, and you can see there's a big gap in the precipitation there over southeastern New York, northern New Jersey, and eastern Pennsylvania. So this storm is going to wind down this evening, but it may take a little while for it to completely go away. And temperatures right now across the state range from 32 degrees in Groton and Old Saybrook, right around the freezing mark, to about 26 degrees in Torrington, 27 in Enfield and at Storrs. So again, there may be a little bit of a coating of ice on top of that snow cover out there, which is going to total out in general 5 to 10 inches across the state, with lighter amounts in southeastern portions of Connecticut. Of course, coming up at 5, we're going to have more team coverage, and we'll show you as well what you can expect for the upcoming weekend. We'll have the 7-day forecast and all that coming up as team coverage continues at 5. But for now, Dennis, Kara, back to you.
Good enough. Thank you, Bruce and Mark.
Well, the snow is causing problems from Vermont to Maryland, and we're going to be taking a look at that as well.
Yeah, let's go to Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Karen Brown.
New York City woke up to the biggest snowstorm of the season, and it was both the best of winter and the worst.
It's just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Close to a foot is predicted in parts of the Northeast, making commuting treacherous.
Sometimes they think they have all-wheel drive and they could drive very fast and lose control, so I stay away from everybody.
In New Jersey, troopers reported 200 accidents during the morning rush, and the major airports in the region canceled hundreds of flights and reported delays of up to 5 hours. For some, this is the first real snow this winter, and while the fresh powder is beautiful, it's also backbreaking. Thousands of workers cleared the roads in New York, but they couldn't stop the slush from turning streets into puddles here at the crossroads of the universe.
On an average weekday, at least 500,000 people commute here to Times Square using public transportation. But on a day like this, trying to get through all this slush, well, folks just really want to get home.
Be careful a little bit and be patient.
You got to go 10, 15 miles slower.
The massive system swept through parts of the Midwest before arriving here. And as the snow pushed its way north, Boston was gearing up for more than a half a foot, while messy roads got messier by the hour. In snow-starved areas, some people were happy to see a blanket of white.
I love it. Winter should be cold, miserable.
And with freezing rain in the forecast, the misery is going to continue into the weekend. Karen Brown at Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, the good news is, at least from the forecast it's coming, that Sunday's going to be a great day, and maybe the kids can get out and use some of the snow and start sledding tomorrow. That would be fun.
Do some sledding tomorrow. That is a great idea. And if you're going out tonight to the Spice Girls concert, it is on.
It is on.
And we're told the restaurants downtown are open, so you can come in and still have a good time.
And dress warmly. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with some more live reports on Winter Storm Destiny. You're watching special coverage on Channel 3 Eyewitness News.